Hey, hey, that's my car spot. Oi, my car. Yes, babe, yes, I know. Organic kale. Yes, I know. Almond milk. I'm just trying to park. Not the milk lab one. Yes. I know. I gotta go. Bye. Man, I need a beer. Oh, well, here we are. This is the Wollong Bar, and my mate Brett's here.
G'day, Danny.
Haylock from Brunswick Picture House.
How are you?
What a coincidence it is. Every time I come to this Wollong Bar, I just know that I'm going to bump into some interesting characters.
My first time here.
Yeah, and there's always going to be somebody who got booked for a really shitty gig with 2 people, but they're still going to be happy. Vinnie Da Luce is here.
It's a pretty good gig so far.
Pretty good. It's a gig. 2020, a gig is a gig.
Fair enough.
A gig is a gig.
Really.
It is
definitely. Fit any more people in here. So.
No, I mean, when there's more staff than guests, then you know that you're being looked after.
Nobody can see that except for you, Dad.
No, that's true. It's the illusion of, it's not television. It's actually fly on the wall style documentary. We're here at the Wollong Bar. I'm catching up with Brett, who is the guy who's brought so much culture to the Shire.
Something like that.
Yeah, reignited the cultural flames, a bit of weird and a bit of wacky and unusual stuff. You're the, what would you call yourself? The Brunswick Picture House
Head gardener.
Commissioner, head gardener.
Head gardener.
Planting and...
We're making it up as we go along. We had no idea what we were doing when we started on this adventure, but it's going well so far.
Yeah, I mean, there was already something there in place, and then you've obviously come from a long history of entertainment. La Soiree is one of the biggest touring cabaret shows in the world.
Yeah, I mean, I was just lucky, really. I mean, I had this crazy idea that goes back to 2004, and I'd been touring with the Spiegel tents, the antique Belgian mirror tents, and I'd been running that and running a club, this sort of wild late night club. It was touring internationally to artists' festivals, and it was a kind of late night place for artists to blow off some steam, and we were booking acts in around that, and I kind of thought, oh, I think there's a show here. Now, in hindsight, it was kind of innovation.
It was like the after hours thing, hey? And
it was innovation through naivety, because I really had no idea what I was doing, and I had no idea what else was out happening around the world, really, in the cabaret scene. So it just felt right, and I guess it's a bit of my ADHD on stage.
Well, people know the Cirque du Soleil is kind of like the benchmark of that sort of performance art.
Yeah.
How does La Soiree sort of fit into that?
It's cheekier. We kind of have always said, it's for adults, and leave the kids at home, bring grandma. It's always had a very adult sense of humour. And Cirque du Soleil, with all due respect, they're very, very, very safe, and that's what they do. And a lot of mates work for Cirque. And this little show, I had this idea for this show. We took it to Edinburgh. And Edinburgh Festival is enormous, like 7,000 shows go to Edinburgh, and we were a midnight cabaret tucked out of the way.
When was this,
that was I'd sort of played with the form in 2003 and took this show to 2004, and it we did that first, we pulled the show together in 3 days. I'd cast it internationally, and this show just ignited, and it went absolutely nuts, and I was sort of chasing my tail for the month of the festival. I remember distinctly getting on a plane at the end of the month and coming back to Australia and thinking, shit, I think my life just changed. And it did, really. It changed all our lives, and we're 18 years touring, and 8.5 million people have seen that show.
What are these people like? Because the sort of person that can get into this type of thing and the dedication that it requires, is there some commonality between these cabaret performers?
Yeah, in particular, La Soiree, it's sort of, I guess, built up a reputation for celebrating the difference in people, and, took people from the edges of the performing arts world who may not have had a kind of, and then, but once La Soiree started building up steam, it started as a clique and became La Soiree. And we became a festival darling. It just worked and worked and worked all around the world. And then we went into London. Our first season in London, we did a 9-month run at the London Hippodrome. And that really changed our trajectory. And from there, we did 9 months in Paris. We did 9 months in New York City for the first time. And so just, I guess it established us as that we had the chops to do a long run.
Who's the best? Like, is there the best performer you've ever seen?
Have you got a best sibling or a best parent?
I don't really like either of them.
No, listen, I've worked with some incredible performers. Captain Frodo, he's in Vegas at the moment, but he's a brother. I mean, you don't spend 18 years touring with people, and we've been doing
What
8
about
shows a week.
locally based performers? We got Space Cowboy actually coming on the show next week. So
Great.
Yeah.
Space Cowboy, known for 20 years, and he's an incredible showman. We've got a night of his coming up at the Picture House. We're going to do 4 shows on the grind, back to back, sideshow style. I saw him socially, a couple of weeks ago. I was like, well, and he hasn't performed. I was like, we've got to get you back on stage. So,
do you understand these people? Because, because when I see Shane and bump into him, I'm never quite sure if I'm talking to a human being or like this complex algorithm or something. It's like there's something that goes on behind the eyes of these people that's a bit confronting, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, Shane's am
I being hypnotised right now?
Yeah, you possibly are. I mean, he's been a cultural export from the Byron Shire for decades, and he has a huge impact. I mean, he's on that same festival circuit that we've been on for many, many years. So we just keep popping up and seeing each other around the world. The talent base, I mean, we didn't really know what we were doing when we took on the Picture House. I mean, I think people can appreciate that. There's no model. We've been on some kind of teach yourself TAFE course on how to reinvigorate a theatre after it was closed for 30 years. And, I think that I just stumbled across it. I had no intention of moving to the country. I had no intention of running a venue. We'd opened a big show up in Brisbane. And I came down on my first Monday off, which kind of conditioned to do. Get away, you're doing 8 shows a week, get away on your one day off. Came down here, was sitting on the beach in Bruns on a Monday afternoon. I was like, I love this town. My friends who were locals were like, started giggling. I was like, what? And they said, well, we weren't going to tell you because you don't need any more distractions in your life. And I said, well, what? And they said, there's an old theatre for sale. And my mind clocked on it. We had a great Monday night, and then midnight, we sort of staying in a motel around the corner, and I had a bunch of international artists with me. I said, right, come, who's going to find this theatre? And I laid eyes on it and was completely seduced by this. And it didn't look anything like it looks now. And then we went back to the motel around the corner, and I couldn't sleep a wink. Came back at 5:30 in the morning, like some tragic, sat on the footpath across the road and watched the sun come up over the Picture House. And I just was obsessed from day one. And so pursued it like a crazed man for 6 weeks. And it was already under contract at the time to be sold. And we got it, and then started this process.
And then you were planning on a big renovations this year, and then COVID happened, and then that all changed.
I mean, like everyone, we've been in limbo for most of the year. I'm grateful to be in Bruns. We've had a, quite. I mean, I don't have a business, but we've had a lovely time. It's been great. But I think our news is, and we're really excited about that, is that we've pushed back the renos now till the first week of Feb. It feels right. It's the right thing to do. As soon as we did that, our phone has been ringing hot with artists from the country wanting to come and play. And so sort of that's us now. And really last weekend we cranked right up, did 3 set-up shows, another 3 this weekend. And that's kind of us right through till the first week of Feb.
Well, we're hoping we can work with you here on our little TV show, and you can sort of filter in some performers, and then we can kind of warm them up for you.
Yeah.
Give them a bit of a warm-up and put them on stage at the Picture House.
Be gentle with them.
Well, we've got Emily Lubitz coming on next week, who is actually on the bill tonight and tomorrow night at the Brunswick Picture House. So
a few tickets available for the Garden tonight to watch the Emily live from the Garden and watching it live on the big screen.
Cool. And any other before we let you go, little insights of what people can look forward to over the next few months?
As always, check out the website. We've got a bunch of stuff. We've announced 3 cheeky dates back on October, November and December. And people who haven't been to the Picture House recently, we're selling 50 tickets inside, up close and personal, and we're selling 50 tickets in the Garden, watching it live on the big screen. And it is got a fire pit. It's a great atmosphere. It's a real carnival. It feels great, and it's been really positive feedback. So We're feeling good about launching ourselves towards the
And the
summer.
moustache, you're feeling good about that?
Well, it's new. It's only a couple of days old.
Is that just a little caterpillar?
It's just, it's a baby. Hashtag my first mo. So I'm not,
Yeah.
I'm not sure. But,
Because you're still the compere of the cabaret, right? That's
yeah.
Because
Yeah.
that's, it's hard to sometimes talk to someone like you because you're so good at being live.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I know, really. It's what I've done for 25 years. or
Sometimes
something.
people feel they don't really know the real Brett because you have such a persona.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what you do. I've just been doing 8 shows a week. Yeah, I always say to people, if they meet me in a suit, it doesn't really count because, I'm just sort of, But,
But you bring people in, it's like you create this energy and it's exciting.
It's what a roller coaster ride it's been. I didn't realise that there is such universal goodwill if you reopen a theatre. I didn't know that. I don't think anybody knew that. But we are all conditioned to hearing about theatres close. And so if a couple of schmucks come along and reopen a theatre after it was sitting there for 30 years, and let's face it, the locals around here had all resigned themselves that was going to become flats. And never in their wildest imagination.
It's a feel-good story. It's a feel-good story.
Imagine that we would, it's going to be full of tits and teeth, and there's going to be all the carnies from around Australia.
Tits and teeth and carnies have a place to
It's a home. It's a home.
Well, Brett, thanks for coming in to the show here on the Friday knockoff. It's been a long week, busy times. Cheers, congratulations.
Cheers. See you in Bruns.
See you in Bruns. Another big weekend coming up. Hans Lovejoy from The Echo is going to be on the show as well today. Stick around, we'll find all about the ins and outs of running an independent newspaper in the Byron Shire and how you can keep your hair attached to your head in that environment. We're here with the house band today, the delightful Vinnie Da Luce. Ladouche.
Hello, Danny.
Hello.
Hello, viewers.
Hello, Asaya.
How are you?
Good. Yeah. This is your first time down at the Wollong Bar.
Yep.
Just
Yep.
heard about it, huh?
First time drinker, long time.
Yeah, long
I
time.
don't know what the other one is.
Fly on the wall.
Yeah, fly on the wall.
And how's your year been so far?
A lot of time in the car park, tending to my plants.
You
Haven't done real-
grow things in the car park.
Yeah, I
It's
live
like-
in a warehouse.
Yeah, you live locally in the Duzzy, right?
Yeah, I live about 40 metres from here.
So the old Duzzy family community, it must be a fun place to live, all the different creative shit going on
There's
here.
a bit of Wild West happening.
Are there secret little Duzzy parties that nobody knows about?
No, Danny, there aren't any of those.
Okay.
Don't mention that.
Don't tell me
Nothing like
about
that
them.
goes on whatsoever.
No.
It's all above board.
And musically wise, you're also with Mikey in, I forgot the name of your other
Brave
band.
Golf.
Brave Golf.
Yeah.
Yep. And I guess everything's been a bit higgledy-piggledy this year.
Well, yeah, we released a couple of things, and I've released an album as well, and it's strange releasing an album when you can't do a show.
Yeah.
So everyone's in the same
It's
boat.
like a hypothetical.
But we've got the Wollong Bar coming up today.
Potentially 2 billion people watching.
Yeah, we're on tour at the moment.
The whole of the Byron Community Board is
We had to
tuned
hire
in
a
right
bus
now,
to get
hoping you
here.
guys are going to be shit so they control you. No, I love you, Byron Community Board. Keep up the good work. All right, let's go.
Here's a tune. Yeah. I did some shit. Who cares? 'Cause we all talk looking down at shifting sands. And it's all good from where I stand. Places, we're going places. Places, you and me. Places, we're going places. Places, we'll steal the keys. It's all good.
It's all good, it's all good, it's all good. Hanging on the seats there, watching for the first star, looking at the sunset. Oh, it's not too far to fall, too far to fall, too far, too far, too far. Places, we're going places. Places, you and me. Places, we're going places. Places, we'll steal the keys. Sometimes we gotta move, shake up, shake up. Sometimes we gotta truth make up, make up. 'Cause everybody wants to get a little bit now and then. Places, we're going places. Places, you and me. Places, we're going places. Places, we'll steal the keys. It's all good, it's all good, it's all good. It's all good, it's all good, it's all good. It's all good, it's all good, it's all good. It's all good, it's all good.
Vinnie Da Luce, Friday knockoff. Yeah, awesome guys.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So cool. It's such a so funky. What do you reckon,
Yeah,
Hans?
thanks for a tap.
Thumbs up. Great.
Not bad. Wollong Bar Friday night. You know, this is your first time here in this establishment.
It is.
No doubt, as the editor of Cheers. Yeah, thanks to today's show is brought to you today unofficially by Brunswick Picture House, Young Henry's, and the Byron Shire Echo, independent media.
Thank you. Cheers for
Mates,
having me.
must be lonely being an independent media source sometimes.
Yeah, you feel like a rare orchid. Yeah, there's not a lot of independent media around for sure, and I think it's just down to having a good, solid community that's behind, paying for the advertising, supporting us, telling us how badly we're doing or how they enjoy it or whatever it is.
How thick is your skin? Seems like kind of normal, but
Yeah, look, I grew up with it, so I'm I'm fairly accustomed to the lizard-like sort of behaviour that you have to engage with. It's a conflict business. It's like law, so you've got to be in it in that sort of sense. You understand that that's what's at stake, It's just, sorry, I'm getting very serious here all of a sudden.
is it like the battle between good and evil, the dark side and the...
Oh, it's easy to be binary, but and there's always nuance to every situation, but I mean, ultimately, yeah, there's people who've got that sort of intent, and there's people who've got good intent, and there's all in between. So, yeah.
So, you're Hans Lovejoy, David Lovejoy, your father.
Yep.
Was one of the founders of the Echo in the 80s, 86?
Yes. Yeah, it was 86. Nicholas Shand came up to our house in Wilson's Creek, and he introduced himself to our family, and he said he wanted to start a newspaper. So it all just sort of came from there, and basically the police were raiding Maynarm for...
Why Maynarm? They just decided
Oh,
Maynarm
it was
the
probably
spot.
well known for growing weed at the time, and they closed the roads off, and then they'd sort of intimidate all the residents and fly helicopters in and dogs and just the whole thing, and no media wanted to report on it.
So before the Echo, what was it? Just the Northern Star was the only newspaper in was the Byron News going?
Byron News was going, yeah. That was probably still owned by the Wright family at the time. And there was the Northern Star, which was owned, I think, independently as well at the time. But it all eventually ended up into Rupert Murdoch's hands.
So was that obviously a big motivation on the Echo to stay independent throughout all the pressures of...
We have no choice. We're not going to be... Rupert's not going to offer us money.
Yeah.
There's just no way, because it's a business in the sense that he's looking at, ways of controlling markets. And yeah, no, he just bought the Byron News and basically put it behind a paywall, which he did this year. So
was there a lot of pressure, for you to walk in the shoes? Obviously, like you must have grown up being aware of what an important thing the Echo is, and to be the editor of the Echo it's a pretty huge responsibility. Byron Shire's pretty unique community in Australia, and Australia's unique. It's a very unique place that we live in, and I guess the Byron Shire Echo is a pretty intrinsic part of that. Obviously there's a lot of, you must feel a lot of spotlight on you. And so when you stepped into that role, what was in your head as far as what you were going to do with the Echo at that point?
Okay, so I probably came into it in a bit of a bumbling way without really any plans but I saw what was going on with the previous editor, Michael McDonald, who really showed me a lot of how you can deal with people, like how you can deal with topics and situations and issues and complex issues. And that really inspired me. So you sort of have to be in a bit of a Zen-like state with it. You don't react to things. It's about emotional intelligence, a lot of it. So that's part of the thick skin, I guess. But I didn't really sort of have any... It was more...
So no agenda?
Well, no, the agenda's already been set. I mean, Nicholas Shand, the original editor, did that. I mean, it was basically about civil rights because, people were getting harassed by the police. No media wanted to report it. Environmental things as well, like the destruction of, environmental credentials here, which is ongoing. But you've got to stand up to it and say, is this, what we want? Do we want to be like the Gold Coast? And so we've had a pretty strong position on that since day one. And I don't think there's not really been any change from editorial position from me. I think that if anything, it's just trying to maintain it in a world which is lurching pretty hard to the...
Do you feel like the Echo in general is a pretty good representation of the overall overarching sort of mood of the community, or is that such a changing, like obviously the Byron Shire is an ever-changing, evolving beast, There's such obviously right now you can just almost feel this migration north from people in Sydney.
Oh, it's happening.
A lot of money coming into town, a lot of capitalism, and could that have an influence on the direction of the paper, depending on the...
No, I mean, I can't see that it would, but I'm aware of the changing dynamics, and what I see is that politics adapts to that. And business does as well, like the way in which, say, mainstream media does just basically pull in line with the current trends of the day. I think you just got to be honest with your readers. I mean, I don't think that we have an agenda other than to hopefully be transparent and shine a light on the bullshit that goes on, which is everywhere. You can't get... it's just...
So obviously, like Villa World have recently... I guess this is something that's kind of recent news, is that they've come back to with another proposal for the development of West Byron, and how do you see that playing out?
It's in the courts. So the council were taken to court by Terry Agnew's Villa World, I think originally probably for a deemed refusal, which means it takes too long to assess a DA. But regardless, it was just like, they know that the game is a developer goes in with as much as they want on the list and saying we're going to just do as much as we can, and then they force it through the courts because they know that they'll probably get a better result, maybe, and that's where we're at. I mean, it's out of the council's hands, and now it's with the Land and Environment Court to decide upon it. So there is actually, at this point, submissions open, and it only opens till September 30, so everyone's got to get in there and start hammering away it again. I mean, it's just that you get fatigued from it, but my God, this is apparently the last leg for this DA. There's 2 DAs. And this one is from a city developer. So if people, they get involved, it makes a difference.
So is this current proposals, it's still going to have too much of an adverse impact on the town as far as traffic and all that sort of stuff, in your opinion? I mean, well, there's two sides. Obviously, the economy of the town,
the economy of the town. I think if you look at it like the Belongil estuary is the lungs of the area, they want to clog it with 3 or 4 metres of fill. So, at some point it just becomes, it's a bit farcical to my mind. But yeah, the economic argument, I think it just doesn't add up because it's such a compromised, low-lying area that I can't see how it's going to work. But
in general, we're kind of full fuck off, that kind of thing. I mean, as far as development goes, the Shire pretty much at max as far as developable land. There's so much swamp and stuff.
I think that's pretty well established.
It's pretty much a swamp left, isn't it?
Yes, that's what it is. But,
live in a swamp.
and they stopped development in plenty of places. I think it's okay to say that. It hasn't been said enough. I mean, they've stopped development in Noosa is like, you can't,
Okay, but then as far as like, there's a huge housing crisis in Byron. Like, there's not enough low density housing.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
people living in all kinds of ramshackle kind of places.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that? Should people, look elsewhere for,
Little towns and hamlets are probably more ideal because if you're creating little sort of areas, and that's, I think, probably a bit more sympathetic to the environment where you're not putting large-scale urban areas out, which I think ultimately are not that, they don't sort of sustain, they impact a lot more. So if, for example, they expanded the smaller hamlets or they created one in Myocum, for example, or whatever, that might be a way forward.
Idea.
Well, it's just an idea. I mean,
Byron's like the city, and then you got your like outer suburbs.
Well, you think about places in Europe, they do that, and England or wherever. Like there's little hamlets and little towns that are they're their own little thing. People can come and day visit and everything.
Hamlets ain't cheap either, though. That's for sure.
Well, we might have to just accept it too. I mean, that's the other thing. It's been like this for a long time. And you got to ask, what is the alternative? Is it if you open it up to say more West Byron suburbs? Is that really going to alleviate? Because I can see that is just all going to be holiday let pretty much, right?
Yeah. Well, depending on the legislation that goes through as far as...
They can't stop it. It's going to be holiday let. People are going to snap it up from Sydney and buy it and put secondary dwellings in and holiday let it.
Hear what you're saying. We're here with Hans Lovejoy, the editor of the Byron Shire Echo. And, is there... what's your opinion of the current sort of council? Do you... have an opinion, it seems like you do.
Every week.
Do you want to come clean with...
Oh, yes, I have to come out of the closet with that one. I find it fascinating that people go in with the best intentions and then they become part of the problem. That's been a pretty amazing sort of...
I call it the Peter Garrett syndrome.
Yeah, I guess it is. It's a bit like that. Yeah. No, I mean, it's quite sad because it really affects the community when things they become tone deaf. And the problem is that we're now in a situation where we should have a new council, but we don't because of COVID. So they put the elections back a year. So now we have to, it should be like a caretaker mode, but we're having to deal with, for example, them allowing compliance goons coming after people who've got unauthorised dwellings in Maynarm, which is like, well, is that really the biggest problem you have?
I don't know. Do you feel like at some point though, like a local newspaper can kind of overreach its sort of boundaries as far as telling the local, local politics what it should or shouldn't do?
You can't go hard enough on these pricks.
Keep the bastards honest.
Yeah. If it's not that, it's throw them out,
Yeah?
Fair enough. I mean, they're overstayed their welcome as far as I'm concerned.
How would you like to be on the council though? Could you imagine,
I'd be a forensic journalist who would probably be quite happy to explain everything that I see. Because I don't have anything to hide. I've got no ladder to climb. I don't care about trying to make a political career out of myself or like a media career. And I guess that sort of sets independent media apart from mainstream because I'm not trying to be anyone. I'm not trying to please. So I'm just trying to hopefully, I grew up here. So as you did.
Yeah.
So do you feel like with the Northern Star closing its print run earlier in the year, was that like a bit of a party at the Echo? Holy shit, this is, created this almost a monopoly because the Byron Shire News is obviously part of the same Murdoch empire.
I was actually
it's
sad.
It's good news though, right?
No, I was sad because I think less diversity is bad. And I was hoping that they'd actually even lift their game. I was hoping they were sort of getting to a point where the Byron News was starting to lift their game, and I thought, well, that's good. That means they might be doing more political stuff or more, analysis, and they were doing that, but now it's all behind a paywall, and I can't be bothered looking at that.
No, I'm sure there's still a few little old ladies paying their $2 a
I
day to
don't
the
know of
Northern
any.
Star.
That's what happens with going online, and this is the power of print. There is actually a lot of, I think.
Well, everybody,
life
it's
in
true.
it.
Everybody loves, it's a cliche, but people do love reading the Byron Shire Echo. It's
Thank you, yeah.
and it's consistent.
Yep, I hope so.
But yeah, I just can't imagine being you and being a part of that and the amount of pressure that goes with that personally every week as far as polarising a whole town, every week basically.
Polarising the whole town.
Well,
That's quite interesting.
Yeah, because you have to take a side as an editor, really, don't you?
There's some
at
sides that
point?
I've sort of felt I was pretty in the middle with. It's hard to really. You don't have to land on a side on everything because it's so complex a lot of the time that. And you might, what's the point of trying to make an opinion when you're not even that informed? I mean, there's plenty of those sorts of things that I am. But I mean,
who are your favourite local? Just before we go, we got another song coming up. Vinnie Da Luce, you've lost your you've fallen asleep.
No, I'm raring to go.
Well, we'll be back with some music in a couple of minutes. But I wanted to find out your favourite iconic characters because I've grown up here too, and you've got like Fast Bucks and Mandy Nolan and. Who are the people that have stuck out over the years as being the biggest vigilantes?
Vigilantes. Well,
Or not necessarily vigilantes, but these personas that epitomise what you love or hate about the Byron Shire.
well, you probably touched on two of those big characters. They're there. You put me on the spot there. I mean, this place is just.
Tell
full
us
of
about
characters.
Fast Bucks because he's been doing his thing forever, hasn't he? He's been contributing letters and paid things.
He pays for his ads. I mean, contrary to.
What's he all about?
I think he's a genuinely grumpy old man. I don't think there's much more to it than that. He's sort of seen the hypocrisy. I think he's a little bit. He's probably. He's seen it all too much, and I think he's a bit bitter about it. And that's a bit sad because that's one of the things that I have to really reconcile with is the hypocrisy and the lies that the public figures and the politicians and the bureaucrats all just spin out, and the spin that they try to spin, trying to get you deflected and distracted. And so that can be tiring, and there's a lot of things that you can do to combat that. Obviously a veggie garden helps, but it's more like he is a pretty committed activist, but I think I sometimes worry that he misses the mark. I think he gets a bit self-absorbed, and his ads might be just a bit too. They don't really make much sense. It's more about him.
Well, you can get attached to this idea of celebrityism, and then you can kind of lose your whole. You forget why you started doing what you do. Some people it seems like they forgot why they're doing it, but they just want to stay relevant.
Well, and then they get back on course too. I mean, we're all human. We're just sort of we get off course and we come back on.
Do you think Byron has lost a bit of that core sort of vigilante, the characters that it's losing a little bit of its essence, its je ne sais quoi.
Yeah, look, that's the great fear, isn't it? That the money's come in, and that means that the artists have had to really suffer. They've moved out. A lot of them have, unless they've managed to score a place early on and hang on, they're all going to be moved on. And so, what I hear is a lot of people are moving down south, or moving out west, and so that's a big fear. But it happens globally. It's just a wave that happens throughout the world. Like your artists move in and into a depressed area, and they make it all attractive, and then the money moves in, and then So there hopefully would be enough of that identifying sort of thing about the place is that it is an alternative culture.
Well, it's like the new Hollywood now. There's like 4 films being shot around.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful place. Why wouldn't you want to be here?
Yeah. People like Colin and I see here there. So it's why wouldn't you come here? Both models.
Yeah.
What would your modelling role be? Any particular?
I can model anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like your voice.
Asia's actually, she gets more work than me, but
Yeah.
Sometimes.
I'm a little more selective.
You're a model.
I can be.
Yeah.
She's more of a rock star, really. But
I'm too generic. I don't really
No, you don't.
appeal to anyone really. I take what I can
I
get.
don't know, you need a new agent if that's the case.
I need a agent. Yeah, but I'm just here at the Wollong Bar, a real pub in Byron. You don't even know where it is because it's so secret. And we have the fantastic Vinnie Da Luce here performing. Do I keep saying it wrong? Vinnie
You
Da
can say it
Luce.
however you want. I really don't
I
mind.
think once you start saying something wrong, it's really hard to
It's cute.
Vinnie Da Luce.
Like deuce.
Douche.
Deuce.
Deuce.
Yeah.
Deuce. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
I don't know who that was. Obviously, some dude in the pokies next
Tech
door.
support.
Someone in the poker room with a one pokey machine. That's all you need in a bar is just a pokey machine.
Yeah, I'm surprised you don't have one.
No, we'll get one. Where's the pokies? Blow up the
but,
pokies.
I'm going to be hitting them straight after
Yeah.
this gig.
You're not getting paid much for the gig, so.
Oh, how much are you paying me?
Well, it depends what you win on the pokies. We take half of that.
Oh, okay.
That's a good deal.
Fair enough.
Good deal.
I'm feeling lucky.
All right, we have Vinnie Da Luce performing live here in the Wollong Bar. Thanks for everyone joining in online out there in the Byron Shire and the rest of the world. We're here with Hans Lovejoy, editor of the Byron Shire Echo, independent journalism.
You.
If you get a lot of gold, you gotta give it up. When you get a lot of green, you gotta give it back. If you did a lot of stuff, you gotta make it up. 'Cause when you give it all away, you're gonna turn around. She's not there, not there, not there. If you get a lot of gold, you gotta give it up. When you get a lot of green, you gotta give it back. And if you did a lot of stuff, you gotta make it up. 'Cause when you give it all away, you're gonna turn around. And she's not there. She's not there. She's not there. She's not there. If you get a lot of gold, you gotta give it up. When you get a lot of green, you gotta give it back. And if you did a lot of stuff, you gotta make it up. When you give it all away, you're gonna turn around. She's not there.
Deuce, live at the Wollong Bar. Did I? I've been concentrating on my skills. I mean, as both of you guys, as artists, we've been speaking to all of the artists that come on here, and just as far as the absurdity and the strangeness of a year of social distancing and people being paranoid about so many things. What's been your take on this whole year? Is it, you know, what's the silver lining?
Oh, it's been different for music industry. Gone. Like all my friends, no one's done a gig since February. All the support people, all the people that set up festivals, like we forget about those people too.
Well, this is North Coast events.
Yeah, North Coast. Yeah. Yeah.
So
the whole thing's gone. But I mean, when you look at the rest of the world, we had to hang out in paradise for. Every time I catch myself thinking it's bad, I think about people in apartments in Italy for 3 or 4 months.
Yeah, and usually when we go through crises, whether it was earlier in the year with the bushfires, it's like the artists are there to kind of get us through it in a way. I find that you know, it's like the musicians are the ones who come to the party with fundraisers and stuff, and it's almost like that. It's been the opposite because we haven't.
There's a small little narcissistic element there where everyone thinks, good on the band for doing the gig, but again, there's a lot of support people that actually make that happen. That I don't like. There are artists that set it up themselves, but it's more often than not someone else who's...
Yeah, well, one of the catchphrases of 2020 is the word pivoting, which is exactly what North Coast Events are doing right now. They're pivoting into digital media creation and live streaming podcasts and all that kind of stuff we're doing here today here in the Wollong Bar. Have you ever thought of pivoting, Colin?
Yeah, I'm concentrating on my modelling.
You got to go into your modelling career.
Yeah, I haven't had a gig yet, but
you haven't had a music gig either, so...
No, so it's on par. My modelling's is...
It's going as well as the music stuff.
Music.
So looking into your crystal ball, not talking about the head, but an actual crystal ball.
Yeah.
How do you see things playing out for music next year? Do you think you can tour next year?
I wouldn't even want to speculate. I know you can dance at a wedding now. 20 people can dance at a wedding.
Well, I heard it was okay to go to a sex party, but not okay to dance at a wedding. That was the... Do you think there's been some kind of strange...
I didn't hear that one, Danny.
No. Well, apparently, like sex parties were okay, but dancing, not okay.
Yeah.
What's a sex party?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I don't know if I've never been invited to a sex party. Have you?
So you heard it was okay, but you didn't get invited?
No, I didn't get invited.
All right.
I would hate that kind of thing. I'm awkward in a private sex party, let alone one in public, you know.
Yeah.
An audience of one is plenty for me to embarrass myself in front of.
Hilarious.
Yeah. But depends on your comfort levels.
Yeah, I don't know much about the sex parties, but...
But the fun police, you know? What about the fun police?
Well, you can dance at a wedding. I don't think you can dance at a bar. The same 20 people are allowed... You're allowed to have 100 people at a wedding, but 20 people can dance. But it has to be the same 20 people all night.
You have to be like and become an expert in public health policy these days.
Yeah. Well, I think the people...
hands going like... It's like, yeah, you
I
actually
think the
have...
wedding people aren't talking to the bar people because it seems...
well, there's bars at weddings.
True.
But, you know, you're booked at the Wollong Bar. The bar's open for another 15 minutes. We're going to chat hands for another 12 and a half minutes. And then we're going to... You guys get your third song of the evening. So have a think about that.
Drop a banger right at the end.
Drop a banger. We're here at the Wollong Bar, the Friday knockoff, speaking to the Byron Shire with the man who's puts his name to the weekly edition of the Echo.
Echo newspaper,
Every week. Do you jump on the social media stuff and follow the general sentiment of...
I have to, unfortunately. It's a part of the job to try and keep informed or ill-informed as much as possible. And it is quite amazing how vitriolic and nasty it is there. And it's the sort of thing people would never say
in person,
right? Yeah. So it's like at that point you realise, well, something's taken hold of people to want to be that nasty, and if you can't do it in, it's amazing how it seems to keep going on and getting worse and worse. And I guess disinformation experts say that it's not going to get any better anytime soon. So it's almost like buckle in.
It seems like it's more like about people's personality disorders rather than the actual content of things that are being posted, if you know what I mean. It doesn't seem like it doesn't take much to create like this whole, trolling kind of... Like, is trolling just something we have to accept as part of life if we're going to have a public kind of persona and have something to say?
Yeah, well, look, this is about the thick skin thing earlier, but I think you can actually learn to switch off. Don't engage. You don't have to, like, as soon as you see a comment, don't feel enraged. Just take a step back and breathe and just go, look outside. Oh, wow, look, something else. Because it's all about trying to, this is the whole social network thing that you're talking about, that series where they're trying to get you in and to be addicted, which we pretty much are, but like they want to get more and more because it's all about revenue.
Well, they say that fake news travels 6 times faster than actual legitimate news, and I guess we all like the idea of there being more to reality than what there is in the papers and what the politicians tell us. Layers of things. Yep. Have you ever been much of a conspiracy person, or have you always been very...
Apart from the Jesuits ruling the world, no.
Oh, that's a bit of a conspiracy theory.
No, it's self-evident, but no.
Okay, so that's all right. The rest is bullshit.
Yeah, no, well, there's a lot of bullshit. Heaps of it.
What are your facts for that one? You're talking about the Catholic Church.
Yeah, look, the Catholic, but it's not just them. I mean, it's the Bar Association. It goes back to medieval times. I mean, it's not so much.
Is there such thing as an Illuminati? Is that a thing? Is there a group of...
But it is, but it's not as probably as powerful as. And people think the Rockefellers were powerful. Or they come in waves. I don't think it's. The conspiracies in a way are there in front of us. Like. They're actually right in front of us, and you don't need to go deep into it.
See, I've got a conspiracy that the actual mainstream people create conspiracy people like Pete Evans to distract people from the actual thing by making this extreme conspiracy person who kind of makes things look a little bit just too out there to be even, considered plausible.
Yeah.
And that it's like creating characters, creating like villains. It's like this whole idea of the superheroes and the villains, and that we're all being played in a way, I feel, sometimes in the media.
Well, it's a distraction from the 1% who are actually doing all of the damage and taking away everyone's livelihood and money,
Because they're obviously more powerful than most world governments, your Amazons and your Apples and your Googles and stuff.
Well, media too, mainstream. And where else where do you get your horizon from? Where's your lens? Where does the information come from? A lot of the time it's just, I guess it's the whole thing about fake news. It's not so much fake news, it's fake science, it's fake history, it's fake everything. It's everything's had an agenda, all the way back to the beginning of time.
What's the agenda though? That's what I don't get. Just power for the sake of power?
Yeah. Why wouldn't it be? I don't see it any other way. It's just power.
So we're all trying to wrestle power back from
each other.
From each other.
And self-interest is
white men power.
Well, that's just dominant right now. I mean, it was different in the medieval ages, and before that, you had there was different societies that had more power, and the Anglo-Saxon is only very recent. So,
what gets you more excited, a Byron Shire council election or a American presidential election?
Oh, well, both would actually be really good.
What gives you a bigger horn on?
There's a lot at stake with America, but...
is there though, or is it just the same shit?
Look, it probably is the same, but there's a chance for something better than what's been going on.
I mean, Bernie Sanders got wiped out, and he seemed to be the only one who had any kind of sort of legitimate sort of socialist kind of agenda, So what? Okay, so if you're an optimist as far as something good can happen out of the American
Well, I'm an optimist
politics?
in the biggest sense. I mean, it might not be in this sort of couple of years, but it could be in years to come where things actually, I think it just comes in waves. It's just a wave, things will get better and then they get worse. And I mean, unfortunately, we're seeing a lot of the institutions, a lot of trust diminishing. So that's the concern, is that we're heading towards tyranny. And we seem to just repeat patterns like 100 years ago, the rise of fascism, and now we're getting the rise of America doing the same sorts of enacting this. And this government in Australia does the same thing. It's, behaving like a tyrannical sort of entity.
And yeah.
Well, I mean, yeah, like some of the things that are happening in Victoria, I mean, for possibly legitimate reasons, it just seems like something you would never see in Australia, like a pregnant
all
woman
new.
being.
Yeah.
It's. Would you have ever imagined that this is some of the things that we've seen happen?
We've almost sort of seen it through the movies, and we've read it's all just coming to fruition. It's like reap what you sow stuff, I think.
So fascism is becoming acceptable because of public health concerns.
Well, that's one of the ways for governments to get more control.
Do you feel us coming out of this, as someone who's been observing like the media globally and locally? Are we going to come out of this, or are we going to sort of be? Are we kind of going to become entrenched in some form of this current reality as far as social distancing and, you know, paranoia about viruses and stuff? Is this the new normal, or is this a phase?
Well, I mean, we're sitting here pretty close.
Yeah, I was just getting a bit weird then. I was just like, hang on, I got to lean back.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, that's right. It could be the new normal. Who knows? It's no one really has a handle on this virus, and that's the most amazing thing, is that you cannot predict where it's going, and you can only sort of relate it to some historical thing 100 years ago. But even then, you know, the science is better now. But we've got so many more people now, so there's a lot at stake. What I have heard is that it's not just this virus; it's possibly the ones to come.
That's what I was actually talking to a friend in the surf. Just like, this virus. Why can't it be one of many? Maybe this is the experimental virus to sort of destabilize us, and so we're all pretty screwed then, aren't we?
No, I just reckon.
No?
I reckon Australia's pretty lucky.
We're going to get a vaccine in the next sort of 6 months.
And you take it?
I'm asking you. I'm the dude in the bar asking the editor of the Byron Shire Echo.
Well, I certainly wouldn't take it.
You wouldn't take it?
Nah, fuck
okay,
right,
you
no.
heard it first. Dan's not going to take it.
No way.
So does that mean the Byron Shire News will... the Byron Echo is going to have an agenda possibly to do with the vaccine, or are you going to try to stay on the neutral side of things?
Look, it's... This government's record on anything to do with outrolling any sort of infrastructure or anything it does, its app was shit. It's just a complete shambles of a government. So to expect them to do anything of reasonable competency at this stage is a bit of an ask.
Because you know that the whole of Australia will probably pick this area as its scapegoat as far as
Vaccines
and dissension, and we could possibly be annexed from the rest of the country. Do you realise that? Mullumbimby especially may declare itself a separate sort of like a Monaco or something like that.
Well, it'd be great, wouldn't it? I think people are up for it. They're up for it, mate.
Who will be the president of the Mullumbimby Socialist Republic?
Yes.
Resistance.
Oh, look, there's no one who really comes to mind so far. It's actually quite amazing. The political spectrum is pretty, it's pretty woeful.
Who do you see as being the next mayor of the Byron Shire?
Well, Duncan Day is put his hand forward. He's a former Greens councillor. He's the old guard, so it means he's not part of the new establishment, which are doing lots of deals with developers and trying to make lots of development happen. So he's not of that ilk. It's whether or not the public here take on his thing, or whether and someone new comes in. I mean, it's too early to say, but traditionally there's a really strong Green vote here. People vote Green without thinking about it. People aren't as engaged politically as I'd like to think. I think the reality is that people just go, I've made up my mind, I'm going to vote Green, no matter what. And they're not going to look at how they've voted or if they're actually Green or not. They're just going to vote that way. So that's an interesting one. I think we'll see. But yeah, I'd say that he's got probably a good shot, unless someone comes through who's you got to have money to do it too. This is the thing about politics. You need money behind you, and generally those people are...
I personally think Chris Hemsworth is going to be the next mayor of Byron Shire. Heard it here first, and this is the second week in a row we've called Chris Hemsworth about coming on the show to deny or affirm your political aspirations of being the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the Byron Shire.
We need one.
We do need him, Arnold Schwarzenegger. You're back.
Mm-hmm.
Vinnie Da Luce. Vinnie Da Luce, thanks so much for joining us. Have you guys got any other gigs other than the Wollong Bar coming up?
No, this is... our tour started this afternoon and it's over in an hour.
Just a little tour of the
Thanks to
Duzzy.
everyone who came and saw us on tour, because it's been one of the greatest tours.
Well, it's been great hearing people. Quick, like social media, like you've got stuff that people can follow you on and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, Vinnie Da Luce on everything.
On everything.
VINNIE LADUCE.
Perfect. Taking us out of the Wollong Bar. The lights are going to come on. We're going to be closing here at 6, and everyone enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks, Hans, for coming in. So
Thanks,
shouldn't
guys.
shake hands because of the rules, but whatever. This is the Socialist Republic of Mullumbimby now, so we can do what the fuck we want here.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
From nothing in Lover City, someone come running, run save me. So far, so good. Is it true what they saying? I'll make believe. I'll make believe. What's your poison? Who's your flame? How you keep going? Can you take the blame? So hard, but so good. Find a target. Make us stand. Make us stand. Make us stand. Make us stand.
Thank you very much.
Good evening, all, wherever you may be. It's Bay FM. That's who you're listening to. We are twitch.tv/Byron Bay Live. And I'm your host, Bangoy, and you are on the Rhythm, Passion, and Grace music show. Introducing the program there was, of course, all of you 80s children will know them. Primal Scream, Come Together. Want to say big up to my loyal friends Ria, Gris, Lisbeth, Holland, Jenny Fowler, Montreal, Canada, George Sullivan, Detroit, USA, Plamo Petrov, Hungary, Vinnie Alex in Bulgaria. I do have a following of friends from different cultures, and I love to know what's happening in other parts of the world, a part of the little world I live in. Also, it is with much sadness that someone I knew briefly many years ago when I was in London passed away in Massachusetts last night of that awful thing called COVID-19. His name is John Bremer. John was only 72, which is, I suppose, pretty young, and a very active man. I met John very randomly in London one night when, yes, because of travel, because of problems, I was sort of homeless for about a week. And I went to the club, Speakeasy, and he saw me as a man of color like myself, and he went, "You're not looking too happy. Can I come to my place and let's have a chat?" And we spent quite a lot of hours talking about music, and he is the first man that ever introduced me to John Lee Hooker. So wherever you are, my brother, you know that we don't moan. We celebrate people's lives. And you've been to New Orleans. You actually lived in New Orleans for a while. So there's a few friends on my Facebook page that knew John. John, we celebrate your life, and one day we shall meet up in the sky. But we don't have to. The sky is down here. We never believed there was a heaven until some explorers of some different sorts told us there was. I'm going to start off with what I call soul heaven. Depth in soul, depth in lyrics. And we're going to start off with Jerry Butler, an unsung soulman who was actually Otis Redding's biggest influence. Bango on Bay FM. Welcome.
beautiful day. It is a new day. Talk about liberation through music and lyrics. Still talking about liberation. Today, we are together. Because together we got power. Apart we got powwow. That's just rapping. We know that music is music. All of our people got a soul. Our experience determines the texture, the taste, and the sound of our soul. So what is Jimmy Jones singing? Somebody bigger than you and I. Or the staple singer singing Unclouded Day. Or Black Moses singing I Stand Accused. All of us are one people, singing our music, popping our finger, and doing our thing. Singing our music, popping our finger, and doing our thing.
right down. Boom, 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 boom. At all your feet. You're home with me. You're in my house. Boom, 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 boom. Mm-hmm. Down the floor when you're talking to me, that baby talk. I like it like that. You talk like that, love it. I love that talk. Baby talk. It knocks me dead. Right off my feet. Ow, 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 ow. 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 Hey! Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, 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 ow. Boom, 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 boom. 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 Boom, 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 boom.
That's the inimitable John Lee Hooker, an amazing blues musician. He worked with so many people. It's quite amazing, from Bonnie Raitt to Jeff Beck. Anyone who was a blues aspiring guitarist or musician wanted to work with the great man. Also worked with the Stones. Before that, you had a track, and if you are a music nut, that rhythm track is from Teddy Pendergrass's Love TKO. Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes was the band that Teddy Pendergrass was with for quite a while. And the John Lee Hooker, for those that are interested, is the rock and roller sound system edit from Leeds, United Kingdom. And right at the top, we had Thinking of You by Mr. Jerry Butler, as I said, Otis Redding's real inspiration. And he was also a great singer. Hardly available these days because most of the old recordings have been sold, licensed and relicensed so many times. It's hard to find them. Unless you are a music nut that wants to search, search, and search. To continue the theme of music, of spirituality, of course, the lady has been here to play at the Blues Festival. Here's what I call the Queen of Jazz, Erykah Badu. And the song is called Soldier. And the song is about social consciousness. It's about those that do not want to give power and want to hang on to power. As I'm concerned, it's half of the Western world's leaders. Shame, shame, shame.
Never miss a day at school.
New music, old music, all music. Bay FM 99.9.
Could you possibly rewind and come again?
You are tuned in to the Rhythm, Passion and Grace music show on Bay FM with your host, Bango.
Did you play me tuning at the club? Make the ladies shake the bum bum. Just the way, that's the way.
What's this funk going on? Say what?
ballads. You know I hear they used to do it long time ago. But now people doing their own thing. You know they don't care about me and you, yeah. All right. Woo. That's all rock and that's all roll. Nassau's got a whole lot of soul. Been in the Bahamas. Woo! Check it out.
Byron to Ballina, Evans Head to Lismore, Coolangatta to Kingscliff, you're listening to Bay FM 99.9.
old school magic. The man is Donald Byrd. Now, Donald Byrd was a trumpet player. He wasn't as prolific as Miles Davis. He wasn't as great as John Coltrane. But he took a different route. He was a lecturer at Howard University, which back in the day, was an all-black American university. A lot of people from the freedom fighting movement came from that university. And the band was called the Blackbirds. Walking in rhythm, if you're around and you do listen to funk. And I know right now, my sister Sunny J, DJ, would know where that tune came from. So that was Do It is the title. And it's Donald Byrd and the Blackbirds. Donald Byrd passed away 10 years ago, but he left a big legacy in what we call jazz funk. Yeah, sometimes you get sick of hearing Papa's got a brand new bag, Kool and the Gang. I must say, though, I did play a Kool and the Gang track earlier on. That's from 75, 76, before they discovered disco and went a bit simpler. But they are known to be not just a jazz band, psychedelic spaced out funk, and all sorts of things. Before that, we had a man called Ray Mannings. He's from the same country where this song originally came from. The country is called Nassau. Nassau is in the Bahamas, spelled Nassau. And the people that did that song before anybody else, and it's still unbeatable. Nice cover that I played. Check them out. They are called The Beginning of the End. Very surreal title for a band. And the song is Funky Now Song. Bango on Bay FM. I shall continue with the same tropical feel, because most of the disco that you guys know came from the floors of New York, Studio 54. Here we go to the native palm trees and the beauty of the seaside. What we call relax music, man. Check this out. A couple of nights ago, I had a couple of DJs and friends visit me, and we spoke about Japanese Tokyo funk. It's brilliant. Some of the best producers in funk are to be found in Japan. Put it this way, they are electronic. They invented everything that we use, from Pioneer to Akai, any brand. And that's what I call absolutely fabulous mixing and engineering to take us out of the square that we're all used to. The band is called Night Tempo. They play real instruments, but God, they're so clever in terms of putting different elements together, and they stay funky, authentically funky. And the title was Dreamer. Before that, we had a great track from an orchestra that stays in the studio. They've been asked to perform. They are from France. It's a 20-piece orchestra, but they don't want to be seen. And when they perform, they do a tism. Most of you Australians would know what a tism is. Wear a mask so that you don't get identified. And tism, for those that are younger, was one of the best creative on-stage live Australian rock bands. Chase it out and follow them up. Hope you are digging this. I'm going to stay in Japan. This time, we'll put a bit of jet fuel. Same band, and the track is called Catch. The lyrics are interesting. The vocal mix, female mix, is heavenly. Check this out.
Anytime I flame, cold-blooded in this, yeah, you know my name, homegirl, I'm doing my thing. Put it down in the real, that's just my game, no, they act the same. Start feeling they suck, start acting up, start throwing elbows, said back it up. Tell my homies on the track, let's wrap it up. Hot girls keep looking, posted up, phone up, so mad 'cause I'm booking. I can get your man in this ring too. All I do is crack his mind when they call you. I'm so bad that they so not. Turning my back, tell 'em go kick rocks. He say, she say, they say I. When I say, you say, we all say bye. We gon' go rock, rock, rock. Send it back to the home, home, home. We jump inside, side, side. Out of the club on the floor, floor, floor. We gon' go rock, rock, rock. Send it back to the home, home, home. We jump inside, side, side. Out of the club on the floor, floor, floor. Hot girls keep looking, posted up, phone up, so mad 'cause I'm booking. I can get your man in his ring too. All I do is crack his mind when they call you. I'm so bad that they so not. Turning my back, tell 'em go kick rocks. He say, she say, they say I. When I say, you say, we all say bye. Anytime I flame, cold-blooded in this, yeah, you know my name, homegirl, I'm doing my thing. Put it down in the real, that's just my game, no, they act the same. Start feeling they suck, start acting up, start throwing elbows, said back it up. Tell my homies on the track, let's wrap it up.
Could you possibly rewind and come again?
You are tuned in to the Rhythm, Passion and Grace music show on Bay FM with your host, Bango.
DJ play me tune in at the club. Make the ladies shake the bum bum. Just the way, that's the way.
do. See, dreams are so little, hi, y'all.
Another luminary. His name is Roy Ayers. Roy Ayers plays xylophones. He's also been to the Blues Festival. An amazing musician. He's actually worked with Kenny Dope Gonzalez, as well as little Louis Vega. Like George Benson, he can get into the young groove and do some amazing things. But top of the list, the Beaten Space Probe production team are superb, because they also did the previous track by a band called Clear, spelled K-L-E-E-R. They were around during the time when Nile Rodgers and Chic were doing their thing, and they don't make any qualms. They wanted to become the next Nile Rodgers outfit, and that track was called Since You've Been Gone. So you're listening to Bango on Bay FM. And before that, we had some stuff from Japan. Respect to Japan, because these people are lucky. Why? During the 40s, after the Second World War, the Americans put ships and aircraft carriers to protect Japan from our current enemy, which is called, not enemy, but bully boy, China. And in that process, a lot of Japanese people got exposed to some of the most amazing music from African Americans. Jazz, jazz funk, whatever you call it, and even African. And I must say, if I could ever feel comfortable in the Far East to play my stuff, I would definitely put Japan on the list. Arigato. Bango on Bay FM. I'm going to keep the groove on the funky side. But you know something? I told my friends that visited me that, yes, Bob Marley was brilliant, but times have moved on. And his children are now playing music that he would never even have thought of, because there was no internet back in the day. We didn't go fast. We didn't know what was happening in other parts of the world. This man is a Puerto Rican man. He's a big boy, big rock, and it's called Can You Handle It? So let's get to some deep funk and get grooving. It's Friday. We are isolated. Turn it up.
Can you handle it? Dance.
Byron to Ballina, Evans Head to Lismore, Coolangatta to Kingscliff, you're listening to Bay FM 99.9.
I got a bone to pick. I don't want you monkey mouth motherfucker sitting in my corner to get. I'm mad, but I ain't stressing. True friends, one question. Swear you and I was fucking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off. Black man taking no loss. Oh yeah. Swear you and I was fucking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off. When you got the yams. The yam is the power that beat. You can smell it when I'm walking down the street. I can dig rapping, but a rapper with a ghost rider. What the fuck happened? I swore I wouldn't tell. But most of y'all sharing bars like you got the bottle bunk in a two-man sale. Something's in the water. And if I get a brown nose for some gold, then I'd rather be a bum than a motherfucking bum. Oh yeah. I know the phone. I'm urging you to leave your home. You better be careful. Don't break your code now. When you're sticking to the script, and she's urging you to hit, you better fight it. Let's talk about it. Yeah. Inside out. Oh, darling. I wanna be so deep that you believe in me. Inside out. Oh, darling. Yeah.
I met a girl in Martinique, French Creole, I can hardly speak. She call me all the time and she love me long. She could be my baby mama if I keep her strong. Cause she got a booty like a birthday. Happy, I'll be all up in the dugout. Nappy, but on the plane flight back to the USA. I'll be thinking about the bitch and everything she say. Like, do she really love me? Do she really care? Part-time player, full-time billionaire. Could it be the Cartier with chips? Or could it be the way I cut the hips? Dipping with my nigga free. We conversates how we flip the P. He drives a caddy and I drive a Bentley. You wanna know where I came from? Your daddy sent me now. I'm trying to make my money double. So baby, shake your ass, cause your mouth will get you in trouble. And give me an E, I make game. Try me and it's all the same.
When she's lying on the phone, urging you to leave your home, you better be careful. Don't break your code now. When you're sticking to the script, and she's urging you to hit, you better fight it. Let's talk about it. Well, inside out. Oh, darling. I wanna be so deep that you believe in me. Inside out. Oh, darling. Yeah. Oh, yeah. A couple rappers, but they did it themselves. Everybody's suicidal. They didn't even need my help. They should have elementary. I'd probably go to jail if I shoot at your identity and bounce to the left. Stuck a flag in my city. Everybody's screaming, Compton. I should probably run from here when I'm done. To be honest, and I put that on my mama and my baby boo. 20 million walking up the court, building woo woo. Swear you and I was fucking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off. Black man taking no loss. Oh yeah. Swear you and I was fucking. Now I run the game, got the whole world talking. King Kunta, everybody wanna cut the legs off. When you got the yams. Oh yeah.
Most of us may not know who that artist is. It's Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar came from the projects in LA, and his mom and dad belonged to the Black Panther Party, which is totally misunderstood. They did carry guns, they never fired a shot, but they wanted to fulfill their First Amendment, the right of every American to own a gun. That is the basic problem. Chuck D from Public Enemy was asked, "Why did you call your album Fear of a Black Planet?" And he went simply, because every time people from the other side feel threatened, they go to Walmart and buy as many bullets as they can. There's no nation as heavily armed as the United States of America, a nation that I love. Imagine on November the 4th, may we or may we not see the Civil War? They've already had a few. They kill each other every day. And we think we'll still see Hollywood. It's good to live in a dream, but sometimes it's good to let artists, not just musicians, painters, poets, show us the way. Before Kendrick Lamar, we had an interesting track. It's from a band called Nucleus, and it's called Give It Soul. And I'm going to play it right now because this is like where USA funk meets Afrobeat. We're getting hotter and hotter and hotter because time is too short to worry about stuff. Enjoy. Nucleus. Nucleus are an amazing combination. The producer is from a place called Finland. Finland is in Scandinavia. His name is Todd Terje. Terje. Some of these guys that are producers are always so musical. And it's called Give It Soul. The guitarist is from Mozambique. And the drummer is, of course, from Zimbabwe. A Shona boy, Mandikare. Zimbabwe has some of the best kid drummers in the world. I'm not biased. In 1979, Melody Maker and NME chose a band from Zimbabwe called the Bundu Boys. They were the #1 rock band in the whole of the UK. And then came Orange Juice. Yes, you remember Orange Juice. If you just didn't listen to the Pet Shop Boys. Orange Juice had a drummer from Zimbabwe, Zeke Manyika, a legend. So you had a bit of what I call Afro rock progressive with a good stinging rock guitar, a rock and roll style. And to add to that, in case you didn't know, and most of us do not, because we listen to commercial radio, Santana was influenced by a band called Osibisa, possibly one of the best rock bands ever to exist on the planet. They were Ghanaians and Nigerians. Don't take my word for it. Google them and listen to them. But right now, I'm going to continue on the same energy, rhythmic stance. Funky destination. DJs, musicians, percussionists. All in Birmingham. Birmingham is different from London. They experiment. They're not in a format. They're not trendy. They're not trying to behave like, some of those people. So this one is called Getting Higher. I've always listened to Funky Destination. And you guys out there that are younger DJs, just type it on and read about them. People get sick of people playing the same 70s tunes. I mean, how long can you listen to one tune for the rest of your life? We need diversity. We need the freedom to express ourselves differently. We need radio stations that can play something other than just a silly love songs. Did you know 99% of the songs on radio are love songs? And they're all garbage. But that's not for me to say. The thing is, a system creates people that it can exploit. And nothing is ever exploited than the pop industry. One day, I shall talk about this. And on that issue, I have so many amazing things to enlighten you. Hope you're enjoying the show.
Just tell me how you feel. Okay, hang on a minute. Let's do the dirty thing. Everybody, let's squeeze it out. Getting higher, getting higher.
possibly rewind and come again?
You are tuned in to the Rhythm, Passion and Grace music show on Bay FM with your host, Bango.
Did you play me tuning at the club? Make the ladies shake the bum bum. Just the way, that's the way.
Simply, simply, simply beautiful, simply awesome. 10-piece, no machines, sticks and bones, led by Lee Ritenour. Lee Ritenour used to be a session musician. Actually, everybody you had there is a session musician. Session musicians make all rock stars feel good, or stars. They're always kept in the background, but they do provide the juice. And that was Sissy Street. And believe it or not, recorded in 1976. Unmixed, untouched, totally analog. I'm going to carry on the energy. Now we're getting a bit more environmental. Hip-hop is not defined properly in the mainstream media. And I'm not surprised. People that run the current media organizations, sorry guys, you are irrelevant. You possibly should have departed our planet a long time ago. Look at America, look at Australia. There's one character. Sir, you don't need to be mentioned by name. You are the most conniving person in the universe. Oh, by the way, you actually sold your citizenship so you can become American and put the current American leader and our leader on the map. Shame on you.
Yo, yo, in the place to see MC. In the place to be on the MIC. You ready? Right. You ready? Oh yeah. You ready? You ready? Drop the beat. Drop the beat.
Cloud to wind and wind to rain. Sun to sky, ain't nothing tame. Stars to moon, black in between. Trees to branches, lakes to stream. Add the seeds plus water be. Mama nature, prophecy. Lost and free on a mountain top where the green reach out for the love. Drop rain and the ocean touch the sand. Breeze go by, make love to skin. Send it on, it's the mama nature. High on life and one creator. In a light shine, nothing greater. Polluters don't care why we hate her. Stop the clear cut, let the earth grow. We need clean air for the kids, yo. Come on, scream it out. Oh, yeah. Come on, work it out. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah, yeah. Come on, scream it out. Yeah. Said mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Yeah. Yeah. Day come, old day falling. Japan, Haiti, New Orleans. Real though, who in control? Respect the mother nature, Monsanto. That's that flow, that's suicide. Genetic altered, modified. Pesticide, poison the poor. Eat to live, cost so much more. Good food, good life, so true. Healthy eats, dollar menu. Can I get that? Wait a step. Sky divine, small sunset. LA style, California dreaming. Hard to inhale, white skin trail. Lungs so frail, rich scheming. Cancer, asthma, got no stamina. Come on, scream it out. Oh yeah. Come on, walk it out. Okay now, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, without a doubt. Said mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Mama nature. Yeah. Mama nature. Mama nature. Yeah. Mama nature. 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 Mama nature.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Peace out.
Peace out.
Something a bit more meaningful. Yes, we have to look after our planet. There is no planet B. And not all things are hoaxes. As long as you went to school and believe in science and don't follow evangelists. My leaders, you disgrace your followers. Because at the end of the day, even my own Zulu people, my great-grandfathers, are guilty of crimes against humanity. But these days we just say, go get a job. When there's 15 people applying for the same job, bloody forget it. Get real. Thanks for listening. I shall end the show, and I'll dedicate this track to a man that has listened to me and appreciated every track tonight. Jester, thank you. I couldn't play your tracks tonight, Jester. I'm one of those programmed dinosaurs. But next time, get onto my pages, on social pages, and I'll send you all the tracks you asked for tonight. So I'm going to end the show with the great Herbie Hancock. Yes, the father of electronic music. But most of you see him as an aging 80-year-old. He is the most exploratory, creative, electronic genius in the music world, accompanied by another genius, Anderson .Paak. Yes, Anderson .Paak, a drummer that sings like no one else. God bless, do the right thing, and become a good citizen. You don't need a citizenship for that. It's called citizenry, because a piece of paper can be bought from corrupt officials. Thank you so much. Have a lovely weekend.
leave, let the ticket bank roll to reveal it, rate it. No telling hell no, middle finger, the COINTELPRO, stick it to the real like it's Velcro. What other country can you sell blow? And for less than a kilogram, you get an elbow. And getting high, never come down. Round up your guy, let me run it down. Soon as it dries, I'ma run to town. I fantasize shooting Trump down. A shot for every black man who got gunned down. By the police with no conviction, till they run round. When we protest, they tell us pipe down. Trayvon and Mike Brown. CNN wanna make it black white, cause we hit the action with a black light. Make them sucker act right.
You drink up all my liquor, come on. What I'm supposed to do now? And you talking all that shit, now come on. You gon' have to back it up. If I get too high now, sugar, come on. I might never come down, I might never come down. Never come down, no, let me get down.
Not looking for someone to come here and open the door. I thought I made it clear to myself. Not gotta lay on someone else. But honey, you bring something fresh to my world. Don't think I do this all the time. It's just for you and your own mind. I'll make an exception for you just for tonight.